Hello YouTube friends, welcome back to The Last Homely House. I'm Kate and I live here in this little cottage in the north of England, and today I want to talk to you about a trip that I made many years ago to India. Now, I've been thinking about this Indian trip for ages. I've talked about it before on the channel, but I've got a project that I'm going to do with some of that fabric today, and I want to talk to you about that trip. I went, I don't know, 12 years ago now, can't remember exactly when, and I brought back a lot of fabric and made these cushions. I made a lot of cushions like this one, and I've given some away, and so various people have got them, and I think I've got 3 of them made with this block printed fabric. And so I was looking at them the other day and they're really old. Firstly, they probably need a good wash, but secondly I was thinking, shall I make another one? And I got out the box of all the scraps that I've got left from that trip. Right here. Now, I really love these striped block printed fabrics. And when you look carefully at them, you can see where the block started and ended, and where maybe the printer was having a good day and everything was going smoothly, or where maybe there was a little bit of a misprint, like here for instance, where the printing wasn't quite accurate. And that's what I really love about these fabrics, is that where you can see the hand of the maker. And my daughter Martha and I went to India, and throughout this video I'm going to put some pictures of our time there. I wasn't taking film at the time, which is a real shame, because some of the processes that I was watching would have lent themselves really well to a little bit of video, but I wasn't taking film then. But I've got lots of stills. And we went to Rajasthan, which is in the northwest of India, and I went there because I'd read loads about it, and I saw that there was loads of really colourful textile traditions based around there, and especially in Jaipur, where we were for the first part of our stay. And I went to a block printing museum, and I also went to a fantastic place in Sanganer where I watched them silk screening. Beautiful fabric. And then I was lucky enough to go to the warehouse and buy bulk fabric and have it sent back to me. And so that's why I have so much of this, because I bought 20 meters of several different fabrics and had them all sent home to me. It was an amazing trip. It really was. And not a holiday as such, more of an experience, because if anyone's been to India, you'll know that it's a really different culturally shocking place to go. Nothing at all like what I'm used to. And the whole way that the society works and the commerce works and the communities work is really quite different from anything that I'd experienced here. And it was a real eye-opener, an amazingly rich trip that my daughter and I took. Yeah, so I'm just going to press these, organise them into sizes a little bit. I'm not going to English paper piece this, I'm going to sew it on the machine, but I am going to hand quilt it, whatever it is I make. I've got an idea in my head. So I'm just going to happily iron these today. I really like how the different lines come together. I really like that actually. And so I'm going to carry on placing these on here and moving them around until I get something I like the look of. And one important thing on a job like this one, you know, you quilters, when I sew this together, it's going to get so much smaller because there's going to be a 1/4 inch seam on all of these. Also, it's going to be a bit of a challenge knowing which bits to sew first. So for instance, I'd sew those 3 together and then I'd sew that one. And the whole thing will get so much smaller. And I want this to be a decent size, so I'll make it a lot bigger than I think I need it. I've also decided I'm going to make it square because I think that would look really, really great. And so I'm going to keep placing these fabrics on here. Well, that one works well there. And you know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day, don't you? I'm going to be placing and rearranging for the rest of the afternoon. But I think I will carry on and sew this together today because I'm kind of into it now. It's a bit addictive. That one might go there. Now there's a nice big blue piece. That one could go there. Okay, so I've sewn a few together, and straight away the issue is that one side is straight and this side now needs trimming. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, there's a selve edge here with this white bit and that needs to trim off. So I'm going to straighten this edge up now. So I'll do that now. This edge is beautifully lined up and I'm just going to take this back to there and straighten it up. There we go. And now that piece can go back here. And so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to take the ones that I can attach, like this run here, and if I do them one at a time, because if I took 6 of them off to sew, I wouldn't know where they went back. But if I take this run off here, and basically what I'm doing is just grabbing a pin from here, pinning it and pinning it, because these are all the same kind of size. So I've got my cutting mat on the table, I've got my iron, I've got my sewing machine, and I'm just going to be moving between all 3 of those. So we'll go and stitch these now. Yeah, I am going to lose a little bit in trimming them, but that's fine. Oh, I want to show you my, I've made a new thread bunny. Come and have a look at my new thread bunny. Because people sometimes ask me about thread bunnies, and I save them. I've got a little pot with them all in here. So let's have I love them. Let's have a little look at them. And so I like to have a new one for each project. I think I must do something fun with these. I like that one particularly. I don't know why. I really like that one. And they're all of them, they all tell the story of whatever it was I was working on. And I think they look great together. So I've started a new thread bunny for this project, which is going to be very much needed because I'm going to be doing a lot of stoppy-starty sewing. Okay, so that's my afternoon sorted out. I do love doing stuff like this though. It's been ages since I've been behind the sewing machine as well, days, and so I don't know why, because I've been doing a lot of hand stitching. That's why, but I really do love machine stitching, especially on this great machine. Okay, so I'll do this run, then I'll press it and we'll do the trimming and then I'll put it back up on the board again, and I'm going to be doing that all afternoon. So the pins then, I've got this little magnet thing that I put on the metal body of this machine, and I just pop the pins up there in between times. Last one. There. Now that's interesting because that's actually not terribly straight. Are we going to mind about that? I'm thinking not. No, that's all right. Okay, there's another run here that I can do. I'm just going to carry on doing this now until I've got one finished piece. So I'll catch up with you when I've done that. Well, it's much later in the day now. I've been doing lots of other things and doing this in between times. And so this now is the finished quilt top. And it's not exactly square. I think it's 45 by 47, but I don't mind about that particularly. I kept these two big pieces and I've joined them together. So I'll pin these up now so that you can see how I've scraped a backing together. So I've just, you can see, can't you, I've just put a little few slips of extra bits and pieces inside there. And I'm slightly concerned that I haven't left enough to make a binding, but I see now that I pinned that up, there's quite a lot at the bottom there. I think I should be able to scrape a binding together from what's left because I've pretty much used all of it. I mean, there's a little pile of very little scraps like that which will go on the compost heap. But that now is the backing and the top is done. And so I'm going to clear the table off now and lay it out because I've still got this. I haven't taken this back upstairs. This is the wadding bamboo and cotton that I was using the other day. And it usually lives upstairs. So I can lay this, such a small quilt, I can lay it out easily on the table here. So I'm going to do that now and pin it out, trim it a bit so that I get myself enough left over for a binding. Because I think the finish I'd like today is the pinned out quilt and the binding made. And then I'll have a think about how I'm going to quilt it. But no rush for that. Okay. I'll show you when it's all pinned out. Can you see right there? It's all laid out now. It fits on the table without any overlap anywhere. And so I am very pleased with how it laid out so quickly. I don't usually make quilts this small. I like really big quilts. But this one, it's just laid out really well. So I'm going to get the pins are on the windowsill. I'm boiling the kettle because I'm going to have a cup of tea and I'm expecting the phone to ring any moment, so it might do that. Now I'm going to pin this out now and think about how I'm going to quilt it. I'm going to hand quilt it because I like doing that, but there's a pile behind me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quilts this spring. So I don't know, I'm a glutton for punishment, but this has come brilliantly. It's come together really well. I like it a lot, and there's going to be enough left over for a very scrappy binding, and I've got an idea that it might be a bit of a picnic blanket, something that you can just chuck on the ground in the garden and yeah, something like that. We're not going to be precious about it. But do you know what? I'm really, really pleased that I got that fabric out of the cupboard and thought about using it. I'm really pleased. It's all gone now. There'll be a few little scraps left over to make the binding with, hardly any. and I'll have fun doing that. Whoops-a-daisy. Those are the little ones. You remember, maybe you don't, but I've got little pins in here, mixed up in here. I made a video recently with Anna where we were bemoaning the fact that I mix up my pins. So I'm going to try and weed them out and put them over there. Yeah, how shall I quilt this? I should just go up and down, across and across, and I should just do that and follow the angles of the lines and not go across the ways. I think that's going to be the way I do it. But no, I really love the size of this one. Not big at all. As I say, it's about 47 by 45, something like that. It might end up being a tiny bit smaller because of the binding. Needing to trim it down a little. So yeah, just going to pin this, sort my pins. And then, so I will now put some scraps and bits together to make the binding, but I'm not going to start away on quilting this straight away because there's other things to do. Plenty of other things to do. It's that lovely time of year, isn't it? Where there's just so much going on. There's stuff popping up in the garden and plans to be made for when it's nice weather, and it's lovely. Nice news about all sorts of things, and you think, yeah, let's just get on with it. Okay, I'm going to pull you towards me a little bit so that I can pin this bit at the top here. Very good. Now, I've never used spray based. I've just never come across it in my quilting travels. I've never come across spray based. Something I'd be willing to give a try though. This would have spray basted in a second, wouldn't it? It would have been really easy just to spray this one out. So maybe 2023 is the year I experiment with a bit of spray based. Who knows? Okay then, kettle's boiled now, so I'll go and make that cup of tea. And then I'm going to have to struggle on to try and find enough fabric left over for the binding. But I'm looking across here. There's quite a big bit here that is going to be spare. So I think I'll be fine for binding. Yeah, I think I will. Okay, catch up with you soon. The phone didn't ring. It will now. Well, it's much later now. All pinned out, scrappy quilt backing, tops all pieced, scrappy quilt binding. Here, at least a foot or so more than I need. So I'm going to roll this up now and put it in the drawer with my other bindings. That makes 5 now. I really must get on and do some quilting next. But I'm very pleased with the way this has gone. And apart from these really tiny scraps, I've probably got about this much left. So not much at all. The binding I made 2.5 inches, so it'll be really nice narrow binding. And yeah, look, it's just loads and loads and loads of little bits all sewn together. And so that then is a partial finish. It's not a finish, but it's a partial finish. And just 2 days ago, this was just a big box full of scraps. So I'm very pleased. But speaking of scraps, the thing I'm going to get back to next is making some more of those terry scrap blocks. Because I counted them up the other day and I've got 320, something like that. And so I did ask Terry how many I would need, and she said 600 for a decent sized quilt. So I'm halfway towards making the number I need. There's my binding. Whoops-a-daisy. How do I do that? There's my binding. Beautifully in focus there now. Really like it. And now it's quite late. It's after 6, and so I'm going to get some supper on the go. Clear all the table up, and then maybe, not tonight, but maybe tomorrow, I'll cut some scraps and get on and do a bit more of terrace quilt. But for now, that's a partial finish, and I'll get back and show you. It might be a while, because I've got quite a lot of other things that I want to do, but this one is well on its way to being a lovely scrappy Indian block printed stripy quilt. Very pleased. See you next time with something else.